You never really know how close someone is to giving up, until you see what finally pulls them back from the edge. This is the story of a woman named Claire, a quiet soul, living behind closed blinds and unopened curtains. She thought no one noticed her slipping away. She believed no one would care if she vanished. But then, one morning, she opened her front door and saw a bag of groceries, and a handwritten note. What she read changed everything. Claire Bennett had once been the bright light in every room. She had a laugh that made people turn and smile, even if they didn't know what the joke was. But grief has a way of dimming even the brightest souls. 2 years ago, she lost her mother. Then, just 6 months later, her job. And like dominoes, her friendships, her routines, her sense of self, all fell apart one after the other. The pandemic had left her isolated, and recovery felt like something only other people could afford. Her savings dwindled. Her confidence vanished. Most days, she barely had the strength to leave her bed. She didn't want pity. She just wanted someone to notice. But no one did. Or so she thought. Her apartment had become a cocoon, dusty, silent, and stale. The few times she ventured outside, she avoided eye contact, wrapped in oversized hoodies and headphones with no music. She thought she'd mastered the art of invisibility. But someone saw her. Miles Carter was the kind of man who rarely drew attention to himself. A single dad juggling a full-time job, a chatty 6-year-old daughter named Lily, and the weight of his own heartbreak. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier in a car accident. Since then, it had just been the two of them, and somehow, he'd found a strange rhythm to the chaos. He lived 2 doors down from Claire, and while she thought herself invisible, Miles noticed her. He saw her mailbox overflowing some weeks, groceries carried with shaking hands, the slouched shoulders, the hollowed look in her eyes. He saw the signs because he recognized them. He remembered what it looked like to feel like the world was too loud, too hard, too indifferent. It was Lily, though, who pushed him to act. "Why doesn't that lady ever smile?" she had asked one morning, peering through the hallway window. "She looks like her heart hurts." Miles had paused. It was such a simple observation. Unfiltered. True. That night, he stood in his small kitchen, watching Lily color at the table. There were extra cans in the pantry, an unopened box of tea, and some fresh fruit he knew they wouldn't finish. An idea stirred, not out of charity, but something more human. He packed the bag quietly, hesitated with the pen over a torn piece of notebook paper, and finally wrote. "Hi. You don't know me, but I live 2 doors down. You've been on my mind. Just wanted you to know someone sees you, and you're not as invisible as you might feel. We've all been in dark places. You don't have to stay there. If you ever need a hand, or just someone to listen, we're here. Miles and Lily, apartment 3C. He placed the bag gently at her door early the next morning, before Lily woke up. Claire almost didn't open her door that day. The world outside felt like a storm she wasn't prepared for. But the rumble of hunger in her stomach finally pushed her out of bed. She opened the door and froze. She stared at the bag. The fruit. The bread. The tea. And then the note. She read it once. Then twice. And then, for the first time in weeks, she cried. Not the silent tears that slipped down unnoticed, but sobs that racked her body. She clutched the note to her chest like a lifeline. It was just a few words. But to her, it was a crack of light in a cave she'd been lost in. For the first time, someone saw her. It took her 3 days to work up the courage. But she knocked on apartment 3C. Lily answered first, eyes wide and bright. "You're the lady," she exclaimed. "You look better today." Claire blinked, surprised. I feel a little better today." Miles appeared behind his daughter, his expression open but cautious. "Thank you," Claire said softly. "For the food. The note. Everything." "You don't have to thank me," he said. "We're neighbors. That should still mean something." And from that small, quiet moment, something began to grow. Over the following weeks, Claire began to step outside more. At first, just to check her mail or sit on the stoop. But little by little, she and Lily struck up a bond. Lily would wave at her every morning, sometimes dragging her by the hand to show off her latest drawing or a flower she'd picked. Miles never pushed, never pried. But he listened. He asked, gently, how her days were. He invited her for dinner once. She almost declined, but the smell of Lily's homemade spaghetti masterpiece was too hard to resist. It was messy. Awkward at first. But real. Claire started to remember things she had forgotten. The taste of fresh coffee shared with someone else, the sound of laughter that wasn't coming from a screen, the comfort of being included. She found a part-time job at a local bookstore. Nothing big. But it was something. A step. She started seeing a therapist again. She began calling her sister more. And she kept the note. Framed it, actually. Right above her small writing desk, where she began journaling again, and eventually, writing essays about mental health, grief, and healing. One day, many months later, Claire returned home to find a note on her door. It was from a college student in the building across the street, someone who had read her latest essay online and recognized her. You probably don't remember me, but I was once in your bookstore and you told me to keep writing. I did. I'm applying for a fellowship now. You helped me believe my words mattered. Just wanted to say thank you. Claire stood in silence, reading it again. The circle had closed and opened. All at once. We don't always know what someone's going through. Sometimes, it just takes a bag of groceries. A few kind words. A simple, human reminder, you're not alone. Claire thought no one would care. Until one single dad, with a note and a bag of food, proved her wrong, and helped her believe in life again. So maybe today, you could be that note for someone else. It doesn't take much. It just takes care.